Hey everyone, it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I love doing this every year. It's really fun to look back on like how the year has gone so far, and for me this year has been one that has been like unlike any other year, honestly. So up to this point, I don't even actually remember. Let's see. I'm going to be finishing a book either today or tomorrow because it's going to be the book club book for the Stuff and Nonsense book club on Bookland, which I will have linked down below for you guys, but we have the live show tomorrow, so I'm going to be finishing that either today or tomorrow. But up to this point, I have read 91 books so far this year. I don't even know. I've never read this much. Like, I have never read this quickly, but it's because of a lot of factors. One of them is that like I realized that audiobooks work the best for me because with my ADHD, I cannot focus on a book for long enough and my mind will start wandering, and I just find it very frustrating to like physically read. So when I discovered audiobooks, I knew that I was liking them better, and then I like finally this year have just let myself go over to that, and it has been clearly life-changing since I've read 91 books this year. And I've read some ones that I've like really liked as well. There's been some duds, but like for the most part there's been a lot that I've liked. I also, interestingly enough, have read like 50-50 adult and YA, and that has never happened. I don't know what the division was in 2022 because that's kind of the year that I started also letting myself read like adult books, which seems so weird because I'm freaking 27 years old, but I was always trying to read YA because like that was kind of what I built my channel on. But as we have established, things are changing around here. My point is, it has been a really great reading year so far. Do not compare yourself to me because everyone's situation is different and like everyone reads at different speeds, and if you've just read one book, that is totally fine. Like, be proud of reading anything, honestly. And even if you haven't been able to finish a book yet this year, that's totally fine as well. But this tag has been around for like quite a while now. It feels like forever that I've been doing this one. I'm not sure how many times I've done it, but it's essentially just different questions surrounding your reading year so far and what you've read, and kind of looking forward to the rest of the year as well, as we are 6 months into the year. By the way, because of the like Christmas video-a-thon that I do at Bookmas, I end up ending my reading year in November, and then everything that I read to December counts towards the following year. So it's still 12 months, but that might explain like why I've read so much. It's just like my personal tracking system. It's not that deep, but essentially I have already had like 7 months of reading ahead of me. Anyways, question number 1 is, what is the best book that you've read so far in 2023? And I actually have 2 because of course I do. Like, I can't actually make decisions, but those 2 are The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Oh my goodness, I just love Kristen Hanna. Like, when I read The Nightingale, that was my favorite book the year that I read it, and I have a feeling that this one, it's going to be hard to beat. Like, this was just such a fantastic book. I absolutely fell in love with it and just could not get enough. It's such a beautiful but like heartbreaking story. It's set in Alaska and it's set in the 70s, and you're following a main character who is just going through like so much, seeing her mom in not a great situation, her family isn't the best. It's just so good, honestly. Read it. I can't say enough good things about it. And kind of like in a close second is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. It definitely snuck up on me, but like in the best way possible, because I ended up completely falling in love with it. It was such a beautiful story. Like, part of it is told from the perspective of a freaking octopus. It's so good. It's about this character who's kind of older, and she ends up taking on a job as a caretaker at the aquarium, and they have a giant Pacific octopus who you are getting part of the perspective of. but it's just such a beautiful story that will completely tug on your heartstrings. Number 2 is the best sequel that you've read so far this year. I was trying to grab all the books, but my office is in such a state right now that I just grabbed a few and then I could not be bothered to try and find the rest because everything is everywhere. Ooh, but this one's actually right here. Perfect. So Master of Iron, I think, would be my favorite sequel that I've read so far this year. This is the sequel to, and actually the conclusion of, the Bladesmith duology by Trisha Levenseller. I really enjoyed Blade of Secrets when I read it, and I was super excited to be back in this world. It's just like such a fast-paced fantasy, and the sisterhood element, I just fell in love with it. I have actually read more sequels this year than I have in like many years past, because if you have been watching my videos for a while, then you know that I'm not really a big fan of series or sequels. I don't often read sequels because I just like to experience new worlds rather than like going back to an old world that I've been in before. But I have read the sequel to These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, and also the sequel to Daughter of the Moon Goddess. And I didn't enjoy those like quite as much as the first one, but I think it's because I was just ready to experience a new world. Number 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. I have so many books in front of me, you don't even know. It's actually ridiculous, but on either side, on like the bottom of my shelves, I have a double stack shelf of just like new books, and it's a lot. But one of the ones that I have here is Blood Debts by Terry J. Benton Walker. This seems like a really interesting story. It's set in New Orleans and it's a debut author, and it's like this twisted thing of like families that are like, there's a lot going on, so I think that this one could be really good. Then I also have Wanderlust by Elle Everhart. This is about 2 characters who don't really know each other very well, but they end up winning this around the world trip together on a radio contest, and I love that. That is like my everything. I'm honestly not sure what else. Like, I know that there are definitely other books that I would love to read that came out this year because I have a lot of 2023 releases on my TBR, but those are the ones that were coming to me first. Number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So once again, I have 2 because I cannot just pick one for anything. So we have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. This is an Antony and Cleopatra retelling by the author of These Violent Delights, and it's actually her first adult story. So it's an adult fantasy retelling, and it seems like it's going to be super good. Like, I have high expectations. This video is taking me so much longer to film than I would like because I don't normally have Archer in my office very much, and he is just grabbing everything he possibly can. So I have to take everything out of his mouth. Look at how nicely Charlie's sleeping. Can you do that, please? That would be lovely. You're so cute though, but so irritating right now. I also would like to point out I do have toys for him. It's not like I'm just expecting him to like just chill. I do have toys everywhere up here for him, but he's not interested in the toys when there's so many other fun toys that he can't actually play with hanging around. Another release that I'm really looking forward to is Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. She just has such beautiful writing. I'm obsessed with it, and this will once again actually be her first adult book. There are so many authors who are making the transition to adult, and I'm here for it. Like, I definitely am making that transition as well, so I think it's great. Number 5 is your biggest disappointment. I have 2, shocking. I should just like not even say that I have 2 anymore. It should just be assumed. But we have Bunny by Mona Awad, which like I didn't really know what to think about going into it, and then my cat died when I was reading this book, like at the very end, so that kind of tainted my love of it permanently, so that's not the book's fault. But as it was, I wasn't really sure, and then that just solidified the bad vibes for me. But honestly, that really isn't the book's fault. But also, I was kind of let down by When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill. I was really excited for this one because I saw it was a historical fiction that was set in Montreal, and I was like, that seems super cool. Like, I am all for it. But it ended up being something like very, very different than what I was expecting. It seemed much more like a sort of fantastical sort of thing. It was a very strange and twisted story and wasn't necessarily what I was expecting, and I didn't necessarily not like it. Like, when I say I was let down by something, it doesn't mean that I didn't like it necessarily. I just thought I was going to like love this one. So it was a little bit of a disappointment because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but it was still a very like interesting read in a very dark and twisted and uncomfortable way. Number 6 is your biggest surprise. So the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. I was actually planning on unhauling this, but then you guys said that I should keep it, and I was like, that was basically for a video where I was going to unhaul books, and then I was like, you can save like 2 of them, and then I was like, I'll do a reading vlog for them. The reading vlog never came to fruition, but I did finally freaking read this one because I think I filmed that video in like 2020, maybe 2021, I don't know. But I finally read this and I did actually really enjoy it. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I just hadn't really heard great things about this author's debut, so then I was like, meh. But this one was really good. You never corrected me on my pronunciation of her last name though. Not that it's your job, but if you knew, please tell me. Like, if I'm pronouncing something horribly wrong, please tell me. I was saying Jimenez, that's not right. Okay, this is what I meant to grab. So I grabbed the stationery shop, which was good. Like, I did like this one, but I meant to grab this one. Do you see? Kind of similar cover, but The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner, I was also really surprised by because I saw that this book was like really hyped up, I think in 2021, and I hadn't heard much about it, but then I was seeing that like people on my survey that I do for Bookmas, where I was asking your most like disappointing book of the year or like the book that you like the least, and a lot of people said this one, so I was like, oh, but I understand why. Like, I can see why people would be disappointed, but I went into it with like lower expectations, so I ended up really liking it a lot. It's dual timeline, it doesn't really need to be, but it is still like a really good story and very different. Number 7 is your favorite new author, so new to you or a debut, and I would say that probably Bridget Morrissey, who wrote, it should be somewhere over here, but I literally don't know. Oh, here we go. 1,000 Miles. This was such a good Friends to Lovers story. I love Friends to Lovers, so I actually ended up grabbing her most recent release I should be getting soon, That Summer Feeling, which I'm really excited about actually. I don't know where my copy is though, but I hope I get one very soon in the mail. But I also grabbed her previous book, which was Love Scenes, and I'm excited for that one. Also, Pip Williams, the author of the Dictionary of Lost Words. I just thought that book was like brilliantly written, so it made me very happy. Definitely very interested in more of her stuff, and I think she has another book coming out this year. And then also Liselle Sambury. I read Blood Like Magic and quite enjoyed it, so definitely has me wanting to read more of her books. Can I shelf this? Yes, I can. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush. I honestly don't really get fictional crushes anymore. I don't really know, but if I did, I would have to say that it would be the love interest from The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. I don't know how I forgot who wrote this. This was an adult debut for this author. I've read her YA books and quite enjoyed them, but I'm trying to see what Nick Brown was very charming and a great character. I did really like him, and I like this book a lot overall too. Number 9 is your newest favorite character, and I feel like I would be remiss if I did not say Marcellus from Remarkably Bright Creatures. I loved him, but I mean, it doesn't have to be a human. There's nothing that says it has to be a human. So yeah, Marcellus, final answer. A book that made you cry. I have not cried at anything, but it also takes a lot for a book to make me cry. I think the thing that I came the closest to crying for, it should be somewhere, it's out of my reach, but I came close to crying for The Last Chance Library by, I also can't remember the author. I don't know why I can't remember the author right now, but Freya Sampson, that's who it is. I came close to crying for that one because it was right after Jackson had died, and there was like a little cat on the cover. The main character kept talking about her cat, and like the first character who was introduced was a little boy named Jackson, and that was just a lot for me. But it's also like a really sweet and cute read. But also The Guncle by Stephen Raleigh, that one also got me because it's really sweet. I don't think I actually like cried, but I came close. I don't know. I cry a lot, so it's hard to, I mean, I both cry a lot and not very much, but since I was in like a massive depressive episode for most of the year, I was crying a lot. A book that made you happy, I would say The Last Chance Library by Freya Sampson also made me really happy, so that's kind of a non-answer there. But other than that, I think it's right here actually. Yes, it is. Okay. Oh, I gotta grab it. Friday I'm in Love by Cameron Garrett definitely made me really happy. It had a very sweet main character and was just such a, like, it's described as a love letter to queer rom-coms, and that's exactly what it was. It was really sweet. Number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year, and honestly, I've gotten so many new books this year, and like new books in general, that I don't even know. Like I can't even pick one. And number 13 I also have kind of a non-answer, but it is What Do You Need to Read Before the End of the Year, and I have literally so many books. Like I have hundreds that I would love to read before the end of the year, but it's not gonna happen. My goal is to read 150 books this year, and I think I might be able to do that. Fingers crossed. Like I should be able to theoretically. I'm gonna try. You know, we're aiming high. I was originally going to aim for 200, but I'm not going to do that. I think like 150 I will still be really, really proud of myself for. So that is the Midyear Freakout book tag. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in another new video very soon. Bye!